And apparently, you're not supposed to take unvaccinated puppies outside where other dogs may have taken a shit because the puppy can pick up some kind of a virus that makes them shit out their heart or something. Oh, yeah, it's terrible. Like, their whole heart will just fall out of their ass. It's horrible. Are you ready to win $150 as well as a signed YDSG poster from yours truly? Then you can thank today's sponsors, the mobile app World of Warships Blitz. This is a free 7v7 PvP game where you are the captain of your own warship. With amazing 3D graphics, a huge variety of real-life warships to choose from, and constant game updates with cool features, you will be sure to love playing this game. And to make things even better, World of Warship reached out to me and together we created a contest just for you. Once you download the free mobile app using my link down below and get to level 5, you'll automatically be entered into a contest where you can win a $150 gift card as well as a signed poster by yours truly. 2 great prizes for back to school. Or even if you're not in school, I'd take that. The winner will be announced on September 1st at the end of my next animation as well as on my Instagram. This game is very easy and fun to play and it took me about 30-ish minutes to get to level 5, so it's pretty easy. Download the game today and best of luck. A big part of me didn't want to tell this story because it's sad and a little fucked up. Also, it's a little embarrassing. Not exactly my proudest moment in life. But as always, I gotta talk about it. Why? Because I know there is someone watching this video right now who needs to receive the message of this video. Because guys, understanding this one little thing can be the difference between a miserable fucking just shit life and a pretty happy one. So let's go. So as a lot of you know, I got my own place here in Austin, Texas last December. And since then, I've been happily living out here, especially since I had a couple of my boys from Florida move out here to keep me company. Well, for reasons we can't get into today, they recently made the decision to move back to Florida, which meant that I was gonna have the whole apartment to myself. Now, I'm the kind of person that can live alone. In fact, I actually like living alone. I get to do things you can't really do with roommates. Now, I can list some cute random advertiser-friendly activities, but let's be real, we both know that I'm talking about jerking off in the living room. Not because you want to, but because you can. That's never an option when you live with other people, or at least that's a risk I've never taken. But when you live alone, all bets are off. And this is just one of the many benefits of living on your own. So needless to say, I wasn't particularly sad when they said they were moving out. Anyway, the day continues and then Feek, one of the guys moving out, suggests to me that I should get a puppy. Instantly, I was like, you sir are a f***ing genius. You see, I love dogs, always have, and for the first time in my life, I was going to be living by myself in my own place. So the thought of getting a puppy made a lot of sense. I was gonna have a little homie, a little pal to keep me company, and even though I knew I didn't need a company, it would be nice to have, or at least that's what I thought. So the next day, which was actually the same day I dropped my last video, check it out if you haven't seen it, I went to the local animal shelter and I picked out a puppy, and she was adorable, man. The moment I held her, I was in love. I looked that dog straight in the eyes and I was like, you are my fucking everything, okay? I love you so much. You're basically my daughter now. I cannot wait to bring you home. But I did have to wait 2.5 fucking hours to be exact. Also, I had to spend $160 just to get her from the shelter, which, by the way, that is deceptive. Because when I see those come adopt a puppy ads, they always make it seem like you're getting a free dog. Ain't shit free about the shelter, man. Like, if you work minimum wage, be prepared to drop 25 to 50% of your next paycheck to leave the shelter with a free dog. And look, I get it. The shelter has to keep the lights on somehow, but this whole idea that they're not turning some kind of a profit, that's bullshit. But whatever, I waited, I paid the money, and then I got the puppy, which I promptly named Kiki. And yes, she did love me. So I bring her home, I set up her doggy crate and playpen, I bought her a ton of toys and doggy treats, I even built her a little outdoor grass area on my balcony with premium dirt and fresh grass. But I couldn't actually take her outside because she was only 3 months old and she hadn't gotten all of her vaccinations as of yet. And apparently, you're not supposed to take unvaccinated puppies outside where other dogs may have taken a shit because the puppy can pick up some kind of a virus that makes them shit out their heart or something. Oh, yeah, it's terrible. Like, their whole heart will just fall out of their ass. It's horrible, or at least that's what they told me. So I was like, okay, if I can't bring Kiki outside, then I'll just bring outside the Kiki. I'm trying to paint a picture here. I was committed to this dog, or at least that's what I thought. So the day is approaching an end and I'm exhausted. It was a very long day and it was time for Kiki and I to go to bed. So I put Kiki in her crate, I go upstairs to shower, and then I hit the bed. So I'm lying there and then I hear... I tried to wait it out, but it was not stopping. My guess is that she was scared. She was downstairs by herself in a new place. She's just a baby. She doesn't know what's going on. So I move the crate upstairs to my bedroom. I get back in bed, and then before I can even close my eyes. So I guess just being in the room with me wasn't enough for her, and I didn't know what else to do. So I grabbed my pillow and my blanket, and I slept on the floor beside her. Father of the Year, where is my goddamn trophy? Eventually she falls asleep, and then I went back into my bed. The next day, things were great. I gave her first bath, we played fetch, we really started to bond. But that was also the day that it hit me how much work this new puppy was about to give me for the next few months. However, I was ready for it. I was committed to raising a great dog and possibly my new best friend. Or at least, that's what I thought. So day number 2 comes to an end, but as it starts to approach her bedtime, Kiki starts to act weird. I noticed that she started to walk around with her tail between her legs, which was a complete 180 from how she was acting just an hour before. Then things really started to go south. I noticed that whenever she would try to pee, she would squat down to get in position to relieve herself, but then she would start to cry out as if she was in pain, and then she'd pop back up and run away. So now I'm getting worried. Something was clearly wrong with her. She did this like 4 more times, and then eventually she just goes for it. And at that point, I realized why she didn't want to pee. Because when she finally relieved herself, she left behind a puddle of blood. So now I'm freaking out because obviously she was going to die. I mean, that's what I'd think if I took a piss and I saw blood in the toilet. Oh wow, there's blood coming out of my dick. This is for sure what death looks like. Next, she goes from not wanting to peeing like every 5 minutes. So now I'm following her around, constantly cleaning up blood and piss behind her because I cannot live in a house that smells like blood and piss. Then she gets in position to take a dump, and if blood in her urine was not bad enough, Shawty Lo takes a fat ass dump that is just riddled with worms. And then not even 5 minutes later, she starts to throw up. And I actually have video of all of this, but I'm not gonna show that to you because I know a lot of you, like to eat when you watch my animations. I mean, this story in of itself is probably disgusting, so sorry. Anyway, she starts to throw up, and now I'm like, what the f***? This is not the same dog that I adopted from the shelter. There were no worms in her dump back there. There was no bloody urine, and I've only been feeding her the puppy food they gave me. So what on earth is happening? Fast forward to the next day, same thing. Blood in the urine, worms in her throwing up. So I'm like, I gotta take her to the vet. 2 days I had this dog, and I already had to bring her to the vet. So I take her to the animal clinic attached to the shelter that I got her from because the way I saw it, this bitch was still under warranty and I was not about to pay vet money after just having her for 2 days. Well, I get there and then they were like, I'm sorry, you have to make an appointment. We can't see her today. So then I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Apparently I wasn't clear enough the first time I said it. How do I? Oh, yes. My dog is pissing blood. Okay, I need help now. But okay. When is the next available appointment? So then the girl at the clinic was like, maybe 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days? Are you fucking kidding? Kiki is pissing blood. Bitch, we don't have 2 or 3 days. By then, my dog is gonna lose a kidney. She needs help now. So then she was like, yeah. Well, here's some medicine for the worms. Good luck. Bye. So now I'm standing there, just completely stressed. Worm medicine in one hand and a dying puppy in the other. And that was the first time that the thought seriously crossed my mind. I should just leave her here. I should just walk back into the adoption center and just leave her there. I mean, they sold me a defective puppy. I didn't sign up for hospice care when I went to adopt a puppy. But then I looked down and I looked into her eyes, and she's looking back at me with the cutest puppy dog face that I have ever seen. And then I was like, okay, Kiki, let's try to get through this together. So I hopped back in the car and we went home. The very next morning, I take her to the local vet because I was not about to wait 2 or 3 days for this dog to die on me. So we get to the vet, and then by the end of the visit, I learned that Kiki had a pretty bad urinary tract infection. Apparently, it's not unusual in female puppies, and all she needs is some antibiotics. So now, on one hand, I was relieved because it wasn't going to kill her. But on the other hand, it meant that I was going to have to push back the date of when she can get her final vaccine by at least a couple of weeks, which basically meant that I was going to have to deal with her pissing and in the house for another 2 weeks because I won't be able to take her outside to use the bathroom. The thought of that just drove me crazy. Very few things can make me more uncomfortable and miserable than a dirty and smelly house. And since she had a UTI, she was taking little potty breaks like every 10 minutes. So I bring baby girl back home and I give her the medicine, and I just sit there with her, watching her be sick, knowing that there was nothing else that I could do. Eventually, I decided to go upstairs to my little studio to try and start working on the next animation. But as I'm upstairs writing and recording, I can hear Kiki downstairs crying for attention. Now, this was a problem for several reasons. Most importantly, I cannot record with a dog downstairs crying and barking because the microphone would pick up those sounds. So now I can't even get work done. This puppy was ruining my life, and it had only been like 4 days. It was at that moment that I realized what I had to do. I had to return Kiki to the shelter. I mean, I knew that a puppy was going to be a lot of work, but clearly I greatly underestimated what this was going to take. And the people at the shelter did let me know that if for any reason at all, if I couldn't keep her, I should just bring her back and they'd take her back no problem. But there was a problem. My pride. You see, in my head, when I signed the paper to adopt this puppy, I made a commitment to her as well as to myself that I was going to take care of her. And the thought of returning her made me feel as if I was a failure. I failed to fulfill my commitment, and if I were to walk back into that shelter with Kiki, I would be seen as a failure by all the people who work there as well. The thought of that bothered me. The sheer embarrassment that I would feel, I couldn't do it. So I said to myself, Don, Kiki is the bitch in this situation, not you. Stop complaining to yourself and just figure it out. So I decided right then and there to keep her. And for the next 2 days, I was miserable. Even as Kiki started to get better and seem like her old self again, I was still just not happy. The house still smelled like I still couldn't get any work done because of the constant crying if I left her alone, and she was always cranky because she always wanted to play, but the apartment is too small to do any real playing, and I still couldn't take her outside. By the 6th day, I had had enough. I had realized that if I had to keep her, everything else in my life would suffer for at least the next few months, including my art. She would be doing the complete opposite thing of why I got her, which was to make my life better. But my ego was still in the way of doing what I knew I had to do 2 days ago. I started trying to think of good excuses to tell the people at the shelter for why I had to return her. Oh, I have a family emergency back in Jamaica, so I have to leave the country and I can't take her. Oh, turns out that I'm allergic to dogs. What? I didn't know that before. Oh my God, my neighbors have been complaining about the barking, so I'm sorry, I can't keep her. All lies. All pathetic excuses that I was starting to make up just to save my ego. All in an attempt to hide a simple truth from myself. And that truth was, I was wrong. I was wrong to think that I was ready to raise a puppy. Plain and simple. The moment that I accepted that, everything became so much easier. When I finally summoned the courage to face the fact that I was wrong and accept that, all of a sudden my ego took a back seat and I didn't care anymore about what the people at the shelter were going to say or think. In a weird way, saying out loud to myself, Don, you were wrong, was empowering. So with that new sense of I was wrong and that's okay, now you know better, I picked Kiki up, wrapped her in a towel, and drove her back to the shelter. So I walk into the shelter with Kiki in my arms, and the girl at the desk instantly knew what was going on. I mean, she sees us every day. So she says, "Can I help you?" And she said it just like that, almost as to say, "Oh, I see you're bringing back your puppy. What pathetic excuse do you have to try and justify returning her?" But instead of giving her an excuse, I looked her dead in the fucking eyes and I said, I was wrong. Boom. Just like that. And the look of sheer confusion on her face was priceless because people aren't used to that. They aren't used to people just owning their mistakes. Everyone makes excuses and try to put the blame on anything else except themselves whenever they make a mistake. So when I straight up just said, I was wrong, it was clear that that wasn't a response that she gets very often, which completely threw her off. And then she was really nice about it because she appreciated the fact that I didn't try to bullshit her. So then she took Kiki back, and that was that. You see, very often people sign up for things voluntarily thinking that we're ready for it. It could be a new role at work, maybe you get into a relationship, or you sign up for a leadership position in a club at school, something like that. We sign up for this thing completely of our own choice because we think we can handle it. But once we're in it, we realize that we weren't ready, that we bit off more than we can chew, so much to the point where this thing is now negatively impacting several areas of our lives. But what we oftentimes do is try to uphold that commitment, not because we want to, but because we're ashamed to admit that we misjudged the situation. And oftentimes what ends up happening is either you lie to yourself and everyone involved to try and come up with some kind of excuse for why you can't do it anymore, or you stick with it and allow this thing that you signed up for to continue to stress you out and make you miserable. But I am here today to tell you that that is not the way of the sauce, my friends. Yes, go for things. Yes, commit to things. And no, do not throw in the towel at the first sign of hardship. But at the same time, if you commit to something that you later realize is causing more harm than good, then look it in the face, accept responsibility, own the fact that you were wrong, and then get the fuck out. That's how people end up marrying people that deep down, they knew they didn't want to marry. That's how people end up being stuck in leadership positions that make them unhappy. Or a kid ends up playing a sport for their entire public school life that they don't even like. And I'm not saying that by just saying you were wrong, you're going to avoid facing any consequences. People may still get upset with you. You may lose a relationship or a friend, but that's not something that you can control, how other people react. You had good intentions when you signed up, but things just didn't go the way you thought it was gonna go by like a lot. And at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for you. And if anyone wants to look down at you for owning that decision, then them. Because at the end of the day, there is only one person who has to walk in your shoes. And that's you.
Yeah. I got your girl in the bag. She said you holding the bag. She got me saying on the dad. She want a new Cadillac. Hit my line when she ready. She want a black Machiavelli. Smooth like Nelly. No knobs, but I'm in the belly. Later now she blowing on my telly.